A potentially deadly loophole is now closed after CBS 7 began asking questions about the death of an Odessa infant last year. But questions remain about the network between Child Protective Services and police that allowed what could have been a life-saving warning to slip through the cracks. And CBS 7's Matt Rist has learned the problem wasn't isolated to just this case. It affects families across West Texas. Matt?
Tatum, when baby Jeremiah died just 12 days after a CPS investigation was opened, we looked at these arrest affidavits, and something just didn't add up. Why didn't police know about abuse in his home, and could his death have been prevented? Baby Jeremiah was just 7 months old when he died, sleeping in his bed last November. Tell us a little bit about what you remember about baby Jeremiah.
His smile. And the cutest dimples. He would love to smile.
Arrest affidavits reveal baby Jeremiah suffocated after his mother's boyfriend, 20-year-old Caleb Givens, wrapped the child up so tightly he could not move.
It's a struggle, but with God's help, we get by. It makes you appreciate life more. You never know when it's taken.
12 days before, arrest affidavits record a violent incident where baby Jeremiah was taken to the hospital with injuries to his mouth so bad he needed stitches. Givens told investigators in the affidavit he shoved a bottle into baby Jeremiah's mouth because he was crying and would not stop. The hospital immediately notified Child Protective Services. What is the protocol for notifying law enforcement in Priority 1 cases like this baby that we're talking about?
Right. So reports of abuse neglect go into our statewide intake hotline, and when they receive a report, they email out the report to the appropriate law enforcement jurisdiction. But it turns out those emails are leaving children's lives to chance, because in some cases no one's getting them. Through a public records request, CBS 7 found that CPS did send 2 emails to police, yet for days Odessa police said they'd never received those emails.
We were never made aware of the injury to the child until the 27th, the day the child died, when we were doing our interviews.
It was only after CBS 7 continued pressing that investigators looked a little harder and found the critical emails sitting in a spam folder, never logged into the system. What do you think could help here?
Phone interaction instead of emailing. That was a key deal. If the caseworker and OPD would have got together, if they would have had phone interaction, I think that would have helped.
A CPS caseworker actually visited this home in the days after the incident and chose not to remove the child. Police say just 12 days later in the arrest affidavits, they found the baby was living in deplorable conditions with a cockroach infestation in his room.
The call came in over a weekend, and the worker this was the first time she'd ever been on call in Ector County. And she didn't, although law enforcement had received a copy of the report, she didn't make a call to law enforcement.
Was her not making a call, was that technically outside of protocol or what would normally happen?
Well, the protocol is that the statewide intake emails the report to the jurisdiction. Typically, it was a working agreement with Odessa that in addition we would call.
In this case, there was no call made by a caseworker to police?
No.
20-year-old Caleb Givens remains behind bars, charged with manslaughter, failure to identify, and felony injury to a child for that prior assault, charges that came only after the baby's death.
Something else needs to be done. I mean, we could save other kids from having this harm done to them.
Join us tomorrow night at 10. We're taking a closer look at why an advocacy group says that something else is a simple fix, a fix that they say will save lives. We've also uncovered new details about state code that we're bringing to the attention of lawmakers. Live in studio, Matt Rist.
Last night, a CBS 7 I-Team investigation revealed problems with a system that is supposed to protect children. We told you about baby Jeremiah, who died just 12 days after CPS was notified of a violent incident in the child's home.
But police didn't know until it was too late because emails from CPS were lost in a spam file. Tonight we take a closer look at the email notification system, and what we found is prompting lawmakers to ask for a change. Matt?
Now we're finding data from CPS that isn't adding up. An advocacy group says it all comes down to flaws in the notification system, and lawmakers are asking for change. Priority 1 cases are the most dangerous CPS deals with.
We've got to move all of these off my workload today.
In the case of baby Jeremiah, affidavits reveal CPS knew about a violent incident and hospitalization 12 days before his death, so we asked police about it in a February 28th press conference.
We were never made aware of the injury to the child until the 27th, the day the child died, when we were doing our interviews.
But CPS did contact Odessa police. The problem is it was via email, an email that was never read. We kept asking OPD about those emails, and as late as March 3rd, they had no record of the case. But 2 days later, after continued questioning from CBS 7, police say they had received the email after all, but hadn't seen it because it was caught in a spam filter.
Could there be any other emails out there caught in spam folders like this case?
I couldn't answer that. You know, we know that the emails go out, but we have no indication if they're caught up in a spam folder. We generate those emails and hope that those jurisdictions have taken the precautions to be sure that they go into the regular email.
We knew at least 2 emails were lost here at the Odessa Police Department, so we sent 7 Freedom of Information requests to find out how many emails were sent by CPS versus how many were actually received. We were surprised to learn that not all those numbers added up. 2 agencies, the Odessa Police Department and the Howard County Sheriff's Office, say they do follow up on cases but keep no record of the receipt of those emails. CPS data shows Midland Police were sent 125 notifications of Priority 1 cases in 2013, but Midland Police say there were far more. The Midland County Sheriff's Office logged 49 cases last year, Big Spring 56, yet CPS said its notification system sent out no notifications. We gave CPS a chance to double check. They say they still fax to some agencies. They sent us a second set of numbers late today that still don't add up. The data is not as clear as we thought it would be, so we showed it to an expert, former CPS investigator and Houston nonprofit director Dr. Catherine Barillas.
The fact that there are so many discrepancies is cause for alarm, and I think cause for the Department of Family and Protective Services to take immediate action to look at that notification system and figure out what is causing the discrepancy.
We also shared what we learned with State Representative-elect Brooks Landgraf. He said, quote, "There is clearly room for improvement at CPS. When I take office, I will work to make CPS and other state agencies more efficient and effective." What we found also caught the attention of a state senator.
If you think maybe the system should be stopped and reevaluated.
If there's something wrong with the system, it should be fixed. A child died, and so it has to be fixed. And so, yes, we must ask what went wrong and what needs to be done to fix it. Clearly, it's not the law, it's the mechanism, and it must be fixed.
Do you think that the email system has any flaws?
Well, you know, in this case, I know that emails go out from our statewide intake, and we have a record of that. And I believe that the system is certainly better than the old system where we faxed reports. We believe that this system is far superior to what we've had in the past.
Since our inquiry, OPD began logging emails and now sits down with the local CPS office weekly.
Any idea as to why that wasn't happening before here?
I really couldn't speak to that. This is just an opportunity to be more thorough and to have those regular face-to-face meetings so that none of the information slips through the crack for any kind of reason.
We looked closer at the state code that says how CPS must notify law enforcement within 24 hours, orally or by fax. It says nothing about emails. CPS said it considers emails and fax to be one and the same. However, an attorney tells us that under state law, faxes and emails are not considered to be one and the same.
It makes sense to have some sort of backup protocol in place in case that email fails.
It's an opportunity that comes only after baby Jeremiah fell through the cracks.
What do you think could help here?
Phone interaction instead of emailing. That was a key deal. If the caseworker and OPD would have got together, if they would have had phone interaction, I think that would have helped.
If those emails had been received by OPD, or even if the caseworker had made a call to OPD, do you think this baby might still be alive?
I don't know that we have any way of knowing that. I know that there's not a one of us who wouldn't wouldn't give our right arm for that baby to be alive, that we don't wish that this had turned out differently. I know those officers do, I know that my staff do, I do, but I think that it's difficult to look back and to go, oh, if I had done this, it would have changed the situation. I don't think that we know.
If there were a different system, do you think your grandson might still be alive?
Yes.
CPS tells me as a courtesy, they always call law enforcement, but this case was the caseworker's first weekend on call in Ector County, and she did not make that phone call. The emails do not require any return confirmations. CPS says there are no plans to change the email notification system. Live in studio, Matt Rist, CBS 7 News.